Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're going to be breaking down all the updates that we've seen in the market, talking about Palantir stock, Tesla, some exciting things happening there, and what's happening with Nvidia. We'll also be summarizing what's been happening with the broader market and what's the anticipation for interest rate cuts for the remainder of the year. One thing that is true is that September is finally come to a close. It's really amazing how fast this month has flown by. But one thing that has been historically different is September, the broader market actually closed in the green. And typically that is not the case for September. It's typically a red month. And a piece of uncertainty is, are these types of trends being delayed due to that first interest rate cut? And could there be more of a correction come October? We're going to be breaking down what we could be expecting in the market in the next coming weeks and what's happening right now. If you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up here. Palantir closes here at 37.20. Now, we've been talking about Palantir a lot on the channel. It is a big trending AI stock right now that is doing a lot of incredible things with actually utilizing AI into various different types of companies. We see here cooling off at the 37s. It's been holding here for a decent amount of time now, especially after the S&P 500 inclusion effect. Palantir does have a lot going for it. Trading volumes a little bit lower than what we've seen for 3-month averages, and the fact that Palantir is still holding at these levels is telling me that this is starting to become an important support area for PLTR. If we see more bullishness and momentum, specifically either within PLTR, the AI sector, or the broader market, I think $40 could be on the table in the near future. However, on the flip side, corrections are, I think people are waiting for when that correction is going to be. I'm starting to see more opinions gather across the interwebs that people are starting to say, who is buying Palantir at 38 and waiting on the sidelines for a little bit of a pullback to either enter a position, to increase their positions, or to try to basically swing trade. So we'll see what happens to PLTR here in the near future, doing incredibly well. One thing that does correlate though with Palantir, and that is actually very bullish for the bulls out there, is that we are starting to see insiders that are selling. And when insiders sell, this does cause some uncertainty in the market. People saying, oh, is this the top that we've seen in a while? We see a lot of management selling millions and millions and millions a share. Peter here specifically sold approximately 16 million shares between Tuesday and Thursday this week. This isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. This is profit taking. Insiders, they take profits just like retail and institutional investors. Taking advantage of these high valuations right now is not something that would be really a shock or a surprise to me personally, because everybody out there is going to do some profit taking. They don't want to just sit on all the shares and lose money and be a bag holder. So right here, a lot of people are using this as a piece of, I want to say support, as a major variable for, is this kind of the low-key kind of intra-year high for PLTR? Could we possibly see a little bit of a correction, making more attractive prices? One thing is that we do have earnings. That's in about a month now. Like I said, we're entering October. Time's going quick. Years go quicker and quicker. Earnings per share sitting at about 9 cents. That's the estimate, with earnings per share revisions, 11 bullish ones in the last 90 days. Things have been looking very well, and quarter reports have been very, very lucrative for PLTR, not just in terms of what their actual price is coming in right here, in terms of their actual business and the prospects and the future estimates on that in terms of revenue growth and expansion with the AIP. I'm staying incredibly bullish on Palantir. Talking about what's going into the broader market before we get into Tesla and Nvidia. Remember, S&P 500 here closes at a record to actually end September in a winning month. This is not typical that we have seen, and specifically, the Fed came out here. Jerome Powell said on Monday today that the central bank does not have any preset, basically, course. There's not an agenda or a schedule when it comes to the next steps for rate policy. He said, though, to expect 2 more cuts this year, and that's it. That a 1/4 percentage point each if the economy performs as anticipated. So this is great to see that we do have kind of an expectation. The market can begin to price this in, and this could be incredibly, great for mortgage rates, which all have been historically high for a long time. This can be very attractive to first-time home buyers, to anybody trying to move around, especially with those with the golden handcuffs right now at rates that we have not seen for nearly decades. Now, typically September right here, like I said, one of the worst months for the years for stocks. That's what we've historically seen. But we broke that trend. All the three major averages posted monthly gains, and the NASDAQ composite also ended the third quarter in positive territory. Now, I think a major reason we saw that was due to the fact that we saw that 50 basis point cut by the Fed. And talking about here, the risk is likely to the downside. That's what some analysts are talking about. And what the Fed is seeing more softness in jobs and employment than what the market is expecting. That's the big piece of fear. So they're monitoring, possibly, is this soft landing that we're anticipating, is it going to be a little harder than what the market is expecting? If it is, that's when I think we could see a little bit of a switch in what the momentum is in the market, and possibly more of selling pressure that could affect a lot of the stocks, AI stocks such as Palantir. However, closing at these record highs is still doing well. But if the market and if economic data fulfills the agenda of two more 25 basis point cuts, then I think we're going to continue to see records being set. It's all going to depend on what the macroeconomic data is going to state. One thing about Tesla, a lot of people are looking for October 10th. That is going to be the Robotaxi launch event. Many investors are going to be teased of a reveal of the Robotaxi event in Los Angeles here. And if it happens, and if it isn't successful too, it would be the Tesla's first giant product launch since its full attention to art AI and solving the challenge of autonomous driving. Now, he has set expectations sky high. This is why if people are trading around Tesla's prices right now, sitting at 261, we've seen a bump since the announcement of the Robotaxi event. If the expectations are set out too high, and he touted here that this could be the most significant moment for Tesla since unveiling the Model 3. If they don't come to those expectations, if reality does not meet those expectations, this could be more of a type of the buy the rumor, sell the news type of position. Especially here for the short term, it'll be interesting to see what happens. However, if a lot of investors in the market are very, very hyped about the Robotaxi, and they think that's going to bring a lot of revenue and growth to Tesla, that's where we could see a lot of bullishness coming off. Now, for auto intelligence, this business industry, this is an untapped type of industry. Robotaxis that are completely autonomous. It has not been done before. So the chance for disappointment, I think, is pretty high. And that's where there's some risk that is sitting here. However, with the anticipation and with the trading that we're going to have, I think volatility is going to increase before October 10th. Nonetheless, even if we see a little bit of a small pullback for people that are trying to trade off of this event, and definitely they will be, if this is kind of overall successful, these could be really big moves for Tesla in the next few years, and especially just within 2025. Talking about Nvidia right here, slipping a little bit, but closing slightly in the green. You see Nvidia coming here, closing at 121. Basically consolidating on the day, slightly down in the after hours. One of the big reasons that we see is due to China trade fears. They say right here that Chinese regulators are reportedly discouraging these local companies from buying Nvidia's artificial intelligence chips. They would rather have the local businesses, consumers, to buy from chip makers within its own borders rather than Nvidia's popular GPUs, amid these heightened trade tensions that we are seeing with the U.S. So Nvidia's, we're kind of seeing here, basically consolidating on the day. We've seen some of these supply, demand type fears, trade limitations before, and it has not historically been a big jab in the back to the semiconductor chip stocks and Nvidia, which is leading the rally of this whole AI revolution. doing pretty well, I think, absorbing that price action and absorbing that news, especially. One of the big things, the Blackwell chip that is going to be, released here, set to launch a version of the latest Blackwell chip. I think that's going to be more important than what China is specifically doing in terms of trying to prevent people from buying Nvidia. I just don't think you can. The name is too big unless you actually brought some legality matters to it. But only time is going to tell about that. Nvidia still doing well and bullish on that. We've seen price targets at the 140, 150. I still think that's incredibly possible by early next year. What do you think about all these things that we talked about with Palantir doing well, absorbing price action, and holding stable with some of the insiders is selling? Tesla with the Robotaxi event, you think that's going to be successful? And Nvidia kind of holding the line right here. What are your thoughts, opinions, and your conversations? Let me know. Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later.